year, the Supreme Court of India receives tens of thousands of special petitions, and it's not a right. It's a favor the court can refuse without giving a single reason. So, how do you draft one that actually gets heard? In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through what an SLP really is, when to file one, how to structure it, and the mistakes that get petitions dismissed in 30 seconds flat. Welcome back to Legum Prudentia. I am Sandha. If you are new here, this channel is built for law students who want the practical side of litigation, not just what the bare act says, but how it actually gets used in a courtroom. Today's topic is one of the most misunderstood remedies in Indian law, the Special Leave Petition or SLP under Article 136 of the Constitution. Let's start with the basics. An SLP is a constitutional remedy that lets a party ask the Supreme Court for permission to appeal against any judgment, decree, or order from any court or tribunal in the country. Here is the part people miss. It's not an appeal, it's a petition seeking leave, seeking the court's permission to be heard on appeal. Nobody has a vested right to that hearing. The court can dismiss it without recording reasons, and that's perfectly valid. It as a residuary power when every ordinary appellate remedy is exhausted. Article 136 is a safety net, reaching almost every court and tribunal in India, with one major exception we will get to in a second. Let's actually read the provision. Article 136 subclause 1 says, notwithstanding anything in this chapter, the Supreme Court may, in its discretion, grant a special leave to appeal from any judgment, decree, determination, sentence, or order in any cause or matter passed or made by any court or tribunal in the territory of India. Four words matter most here. In its discretion, that's the entire architecture of Article 136. It's not bound by the rigid procedural fences that govern ordinary appeals. Now, Clause 2 carves out one exception. Article 136 doesn't apply to orders of courts or tribunals constituted under any law relating to the armed forces. Everything else, high courts, subordinary courts, in exceptional cases, tribunals, quasi-judicial bodies, is fair game. But fair game doesn't mean easy. Courts have repeatedly said this power is to be used sparingly, not as a matter of course, and never simply to reappreciate evidence that's already been weighed twice. So who can actually walk through this door, and against what? On one side, judgments and orders of any high court, orders of subordinary courts in exceptional cases, tribunals and quasi-judicial bodies, and interlocutory, final or interim orders, even an order refusing special leave itself. On the other side, a few things are off the table. Orders of courts martial, that's the armed forces exception we mentioned. Consent decrees, since you agreed to them, purely academic matters. This is where we still have an equally efficacious remedy sitting unused, and ordinary concurrent finds of fact that two courts below have already agreed on. Does an SLP actually make sense? Six grounds come up again and again in practice. One, a substantial question of law, something of general public importance or that touches constitutional or statutory interpretation. Two, gross miscarriage of justice, where the order is so illegal or perverse it shocks the conscience. Three, violation of natural justice, no hearing given, evident bias, denial of a fair opportunity. Four, perverse findings of fact, once no reasonable body of person could have arrived at. Five, jurisdictional error, where the court or tribunal acted without or beyond its jurisdiction. And six, conflicting decisions, where high courts disagree on the same point of law and need an authoritative answer. If your case doesn't fit into at least one of these buckets, an SLP is probably the wrong tool. Now let's talk process, because timing kills more SLPs than big ground rule. You have 90 days from the date of judgment to file. That's under the Supreme Court Rules 2013. Miss it. Application for condemnation of delay with its own explanation. The sequence looks like this: get a certified copy of the judgment and the lower court record, draft the petition, synopsis, list of dates, grounds, prayer, e-file it through the Supreme Court's portal with the court fee and affidavit. It goes through the registrar scrutiny. Any curable defects get flagged for refilling, and finally it's listed before an appropriate bench for the admission hearing. Before we before we get to how to draft, look at what the finished document actually contains. Title and memo of parties, synopsis and list of dates, statement of facts, grounds, questions of law, prayer clause with interim relief, a certificate of urgency if you need one, the verifying affidavit, and finally your annexures and index. 9 parts, always in that order. Anatomy of the core section, synopsis and list of dates, grounds, question of law, prayer clause. This is the anatomy of SLP. Now, this is the part interns actually need the working sequence. Step 1. Study the record. Read the judgment and the full trial of appellate record. You cannot draft grounds you haven't found in the file. Step 2. Check maintainability. Is the order actually amenable to Article 136? Is limitation still alive? Is there some other remedy you haven't exhausted yet? Step 3. Draft the synopsis and list of dates. A clean chronological run of every hearing, order and filing, cross-referenced to your annexures. This is often the first thing a judge actually reads. Step 4. Frame the grounds. And here's the single most important drafting instinct to bill. Convert factual grievances into legal errors. Don't write the trial court was wrong about the facts. Write why it was wrong in law. Illegality, perversity, a jurisdictional defect, later them A, B, C, and keep every ground to one clean idea. Step 5. Frame the question of law. 3 sharp interrogative sentences that distill your grounds into the exact legal question you want the court to answer. Step 6. Draft the prayer. Leave to appeal, interim relief if you need it, and setting aside the step 7. Annex and verify. Certified copies, a proper index, and the affidavit verifying the petition. Step 8. Proofread and e-file. Check the format against the Supreme Court rules. Pay the fee and file. Landmark cases. A few cases you should be able to cite without looking them up. Pritam Singh versus the state. The founding word on restraint, Article 136, is exceptional, not routine. Kunyamad versus state of Kerala draws the line between the lead states and the appeal states and explains the doctrine of merger. Mathai versus yours. He confirms that this is an overriding power used causally only in the furtherance of justice. The case where Cotton Mills versus CID confirms that discretion isn't tied down by any rigid formula. Know this 4 and you will survive most viva question on this topic. Quick practical checklist before you file. Do frame every ground as a legal error. Do keep your synopsis strictly factual and chronological. Do cite your provisions and precedents precisely. Do double check limitation and attach a condemnation application if you need one. Don't re-argue the case on merit like you are back in the trial court. Don't use an SLP as a lazy substitute for a regular appeal you are simply out of time for. Don't leave grounds vague or repetitive, and don't ever forget the certified copies or the verifying affidavit. Registries reject petition for exactly this constantly. SLP versus regular statutory appeal. A regular appeal is a right created by a specific institute like the CPC or CRPC, and it's only filed and heard on merits, and SLP is nothing like that. It's discretionary. It flows straight from Article 136 rather than any one statute. It starts as a petition seeking leave rather than an appeal filed as of right, and the court can dismiss it without reason at all. Same broad function, getting a higher court to look again, completely different footing. There is one line to remember from the whole video. It's this: an SLP is not a second trial. Every ground you write has to show the court that the order is wrong in principle, not just wrong in outcome. That's especially petition start to finish, the law, the process, and the drafting instinct behind it. If you found this useful, drop a comment with the case or topic you want broken down next. hit subscribe if you are prepping for a drafting internship or mood, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.